Welcome back to the deep dive, where we really get into the heads of some of today's most controversial figures.
The ones who make you ask, are they total geniuses or are they just conning everyone?
Yeah, grifter or gifted, that's the question. And today's deep dive, Grimes,
Oh, this is a good one.
right? Musician, mom, Elon Musk's ex. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there.
And her views are getting, let's say, more and more out there lately.
Like, did you see those comments about white culture?
Oh, yeah, those sparked some pretty strong reactions online.
Yeah, and that was right after those pretty wild accusations she made about Elon Musk during their custody battle.
It's like every time you think you have Grimes figured out, she does something totally unexpected.
Totally. So we've been digging through interviews, articles. I think we even found some court documents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're going deep. All to figure out, is Grimes actually a visionary artist or a master manipulator? Is she grifting us all?
You know, one thing that's interesting to me is that if you look back at her early life and career, there's always been this independent streak.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She was making music as a teenager up in Canada,
Yeah.
putting out albums, totally on her own.
And she wasn't afraid to mix things up musically.
No, not at all. Wikipedia lists her genre as everything from synth pop to witch house.
Witch House, huh? Never heard of that one.
Yeah, it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's pretty out there. But anyway, she signed with 4AD, then Columbia,
So she found success while staying true to her own vision.
which makes you wonder how much of that independent spirit was left after she got involved with Elon Musk.
Yeah, talk about a power couple, right?
Right.
But also from totally different worlds.
2018, I think, is when they met.
The Musk era. That's got to be a major turning point in her story.
For sure. I mean, it definitely got people talking about her more.
Yeah, but not always for the right reasons, right?
Totally. Remember that whole Azealia Banks situation?
Oh, God, yeah.
It was crazy. Banks was claiming she was trapped at Musk's house waiting for Grimes for days.
Wasn't Grimes supposed to be collaborating with her or something?
Yeah. And Banks claimed Grimes was MIA, being comforted by Musk after some Twitter drama.
That whole thing was so bizarre.
Yeah, Musk denied it all, said he'd never even met Azealia Banks.
But Vox did a whole piece on it, and it really painted this chaotic picture of their relationship.
Oh yeah, definitely raised some red flags about the dynamic between them.
And then you have the recent custody battle.
Right, things got really messy there.
Grimes has been making some pretty intense accusations about Musk.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She said he's become unrecognizable, implying he's changed somehow.
Yeah, in a bad way.
Yeah, and in an interview with The Independent, she talked about feeling like she had to fight for their kids.
I remember that.
And she kind of implied that Musk wanted to get rid of their daughter, Vivian.
Who is transgender, right?
Yes. And then there were claims about going bankrupt from legal fees.
And not being able to see one of her kids for 5 months.
Yeah, it was pretty heavy stuff.
Makes you wonder how much of this is genuine concern and how much is...
Strategy.
Yeah. She is really good at controlling her image.
Especially online.
Right. She does love to use X, formerly Twitter, to air things out.
And let's not forget, this custody battle is playing out very publicly, so...
It's hard to know what's real and what's for the cameras,
Totally. And then on top of all that, you have her white culture comments.
Yeah, those were quite something.
She said she was, proud of white culture, and then when people called her out, accused her of being a Nazi, she doubled down.
I think she said something about celebrating, non-European achievements.
Yeah, and wanting humans to just love each other.
It was all over the place.
Totally.
Right.
NME, the music, everyone was trying to figure out what she meant.
I'm still not sure I get it.
Right, was she being serious? Or was it all just to get people talking? Especially now that she's, dating Chelsea Manning.
Yeah, the timing is definitely interesting.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have her whole thing with AI.
Oh, yeah. She's all in on that.
Offering her voice, royalty-free for AI-generated music, saying she thinks it's cool to be fused with AI.
She's even talking about open sourcing all art, getting rid of copyright entirely.
Which makes you wonder, is this genuine excitement about the future of music? Or is she just trying to stay relevant?
Is she a visionary?
Or is she just giving up on humanity a little bit? Okay, so that's Grimes in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
Independent artist, Elon Musk's partner, and now this provocateur who loves to push people's buttons.
How do we even begin to to make sense of all this?
Right. How do we figure out what's real and what's performance?
I think to really understand Grimes, we need to look deeper into her music.
Yeah, let's rewind a little.
Back to the beginning. I mean, even in those early albums, Guidey Primes and Halifaxa, you could hear it, you know?
That spark.
Yeah, like she wasn't just another synth pop artist. There was something, I don't know, darker, more experimental going on.
She was blending in industrial sounds.
Yeah, and those vocals.
Oh, yeah, super ethereal, almost otherworldly.
Yeah, exactly. Like she was channeling something from another dimension or something.
And then came Visions, which is like when she really blew up.
Oh, Visions. Yeah, that's a classic.
Still experimental, but with a bit more of a pop sensibility.
Yeah, like it was still very Grimes, but it had this newfound accessibility.
Like Oblivion.
Oblivion, yeah. That song was everywhere. I mean, it had that catchy pop hook, but it still had those darker undertones.
Yeah, it wasn't just like empty pop. There was depth there.
Totally. It was like she was like bridging the gap between the underground scene and the mainstream.
Yeah, and she totally pulled it off.
Oh yeah, she did. And then came Art Angels,
which was like a full-blown pop masterpiece.
Yeah, Art Angels was definitely a shift in direction. Like bolder production, catchier melodies, a lot more playful energy.
It was like brighter almost.
Yeah, but still undeniably Grimes. She was still like experimenting, pushing boundaries.
And this is where things get interesting, right? Like in terms of trying to figure out if she's a grifter or gifted.
Totally.
Because like, was this her just evolving as an artist? Exploring new creative avenues?
Or was it a calculated move to like appeal to a wider audience?
Right, to achieve that mainstream success.
Exactly. And keep in mind, this was all happening during her relationship with Elon Musk.
Right, and all the exposure that came with that.
It's hard not to wonder if his influence played a role in her creative choices.
Oh, for sure. And then there's Miss Anthropocene.
Oh, yeah, that was a bit of a darker turn.
Yeah, much more industrial sounding, almost like a response to the poppiness of Art Angels, you know what I mean?
It's like she was like reclaiming her experimental roots.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fascinating to see how her music has evolved over time, reflecting not just like her personal growth, but also the changing landscape of the music industry itself.
It really is. And then you have her embrace of AI now.
Right, like it's almost as if she's anticipating the next evolution of music creation.
Like she's already like 2 steps ahead.
Yeah, she's not afraid to shake things up, to challenge the traditional way of doing things.
But is that driven by like genuine artistic vision?
Or is it like a way to stay ahead of the curve, to keep people talking?
Right. Is it art or is it strategy?
That's a tough question, honestly. I'm not sure there's a simple answer.
Maybe it's both, right?
Yeah, maybe it's not about choosing sides. Maybe Grimes embodies like both the visionary and the grifter.
Like she's clearly like a master at manipulating her own image.
But she's also undeniably like a talented artist who is pushing the boundaries of creativity.
Yeah, and maybe she's using her platform, her fame, to spark these important conversations.
To challenge our assumptions about art and technology.
Even if it means blurring the lines between like what's real and what's performance.
Exactly.
You know, speaking of blurring lines, I think we have to talk about Grimes's fashion choices.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other deep dive.
Right. Like who else shows up to the Met Gala carrying a sword?
And wearing like a crown that probably isn't even legal, you know?
It's like she's creating her own universe.
Yeah, blending fantasy and futurism and high fashion.
And it's not just about like
Yeah.
shock value, right? I mean, there's a real artistic vision there.
Yeah, she's definitely challenging conventional beauty standards.
Oh yeah, and she's not afraid to embrace a more unconventional aesthetic.
I mean, remember that Dune-inspired bodysuit?
Oh yeah, with the thigh-high boots?
Yeah, it was like something straight out of like a sci-fi movie.
And like everyone was copying her.
Yeah, suddenly everyone was like channeling their inner space warrior or something.
Grimes has this undeniable knack for influencing culture, you know?
Whether it's through her music or her fashion or even her controversial statements.
It all goes back to that big question though.
Yeah.
Is she influencing culture for good?
Or for her own game?
Like, is she trying to elevate art and technology?
Or is she just exploiting them to build her brand and make money?
To answer that, I think we need to consider the impact, like the long-term impact of her actions.
Right. Like, what kind of legacy is she building? Is she like inspiring a new generation of artists to, embrace technology and challenge
Or
conventions?
is she just like contributing to this culture of like superficiality,
Yeah.
where it's all about shock values.
Yeah, where substance doesn't really matter.
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
Because the line between like genuine artistic expression and just being a really good self-promoter, it's blurry.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially like these days.
Yeah, with social media and
Like,
everything.
someone wants to go viral.
It's like everyone's trying to grab attention.
I don't know, it makes me think about like Andy Warhol.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like his whole pop art thing.
Yeah.
It was huge, obviously, but some people thought it was like totally
It
superficial.
was commercial, not real art.
Exactly. But now, I mean, his stuff is in museums all over the world.
That's true.
So maybe it's too early to judge Grimes, you know?
Yeah, maybe she's just ahead of her time. Like maybe this whole AI thing will eventually be seen as like this turning point in art.
Or maybe it'll be like a cautionary tale.
Right, about what happens when you prioritize innovation over actual creativity.
It's interesting to think about though, right? All the different possibilities.
Totally. It really is. And it goes back to that question we started with.
Grifter or gifted?
Is she a genius or is she just playing us all?
I don't know. I honestly don't think there's an easy answer.
Maybe. Maybe there doesn't need to be.
Yeah, maybe the important thing is that she's getting people to think, you know.
To question things.
She's definitely starting conversations.
Yeah, she's challenging our ideas about what art even is.
Whether you like her or not, you have to admit she's a force of nature.
Oh, totally.
Yep.
She's an artist who's constantly changing, pushing boundaries, and definitely not afraid to surprise people.
And maybe that's like the biggest takeaway from all of this. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about putting people in these neat little boxes.
Right, like grifter or gifted, like it's more complicated than that.
This is about recognizing that people are complicated.
Yeah.
And that, ambition and creativity, they can exist together.
Totally.
And also that art and culture are always evolving, especially in like the digital age.
Yeah, things are changing so fast.
Yeah.
So Grimes, grifter, gifted, or something in between. What do you think?
Let us know.
That's it for this deep dive. We'll be back next time with another look at a controversial figure. Until then,
Keep questioning
keep exploring.
and keep diving deep.